Hello all, welcome to our Chalk Talk with Tony. I'm your host, Tmzoids, also known as Tony. And today we have AndyRighteous, also known as Andy. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, Zoids. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Can't complain. Very hot here. I must say, it's very humid and hot.
Yeah, I hear that's coming our way, actually. I mean, seems a little early for it, right? But it's
Uh,
never too early to be sweating.
yeah, but I am just tired of the constant rain, and then it gets real humid, and then rains and humid. I'm just ready for summer weather.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Dry heat would always be a nicer thing, but it's definitely humid here as well.
Other than that, do you have anything exciting going on this week? Any sneak peeks of things that we can get a glimpse at?
Sneak peeks. I wish I had something for you, honestly, but nothing particular in mind right now. No big projects in the works. I'd sure like there to be, though, I used to have a friend who did game shows on Twitch. That was quite an exciting thing.
Interesting. We'll actually come back to that in a little bit there. But
Okay.
as always, the first question, the most obvious question is how did you get your username, Andy Righteous?
My username was a harder thing than you'd think to come up with. Honestly, it took me almost a week to figure out, just going over different names, kind of researching how other people did their names. And I was seeing that a lot of people would like use their first name and then add some sort of adjective. And I was going over a lot of different ones. And in fact, this one, well, my parents didn't think this one would be a good username either. They thought Andy Righteous would be too hard to spell for people. No one's going to know how to spell righteous. But I don't know. It was the best adjective I could think of for it. And a lot of other Andys out there had already taken other ones. So that's what we've been with. And I don't plan to rebrand anytime soon. I think it works well enough and it's never taken on any socials. So we'll take that, right? I didn't want to be Andy Righteous 1.
Interesting that you mentioned that. So, have you had this username since you were like a little kid, or is this more like a recent thing that you came up with?
Oh no. My username when I was a little kid was just absolutely terrible. So this was more recent. I came up with it for streaming, which I've been doing for just about 3 years now. So I've had it for the 3 years, and it remains pretty untaken on any social media I check. So we're pretty good like that. I just wanted it to look like something clean. If I had to add a bunch of numbers and whatever, it was not my favorite. But I hear if you get big enough, you can steal people's usernames. As someone I know might have changed their name to something much shorter, but yeah.
That is true. I mean, once you make it to the big leagues, fame talks. Sometimes you get that money, money, money.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I'm talking about your old username. Are you willing to share that, or is that just too embarrassing? You want to bury that and suppress that from your memory?
Oh, it's very embarrassing, but I'll share anyway. I used to, I'd say my first username I made when I was probably 12 years old. It was probably for an email, for my first time getting an email. When you're a kid, you think that's like, oh, it's crazy. Someone's going to email me, right? But when I was a kid, even texting wasn't so big. We had flip phones. You had to press the buttons 3 times. I'm making myself sound real old here. Hopefully, I don't look that old. But I used to skateboard when I was in middle school, so my first username was Skate SK8 Shreds. It's still my username on Snapchat, so yeah, if you want to add me. But it's just typical bad usernames for a kid. At least it wasn't something inappropriate. I know a lot of people who made their username something I can't repeat here.
This is very true. At least, like you said, it was appropriate. Do you still skate?
Sometimes, I live in New York City, so it's a good way to get around here. But these days, I'd really love to get an electric skateboard. Those things look like so much fun. But I mean, you've asked me to share, so I mean, Tony, you got to tell me, do you have an embarrassing username too? Something from the past?
Believe it or not, this is my first ever username since AOL days.
Wow, held on to
Yes,
it for a long time.
I have. Believe there was a moment in time where I was like, oh, I'm older and Tmzoids is, too young and kiddish. I need to change it up. And I was into wrestling, so I thought it would
Hmm.
be it'd be cool to do the two brothers. I don't know if you watch wrestling or WWE or WWF, but it was Kane and Undertaker. So if you
I've heard the names.
I had, I think it was Kane and Undertaker at AOL.com. If you wanted to ever email me, you can there.
Nice, nice.
think I still have that, but I've had this username, yeah, since a wee kid. Built the model Zoids. I know a lot of people read my name as Tmzoids for some odd reason, but
Hmm.
no, it's Tmzoids. Built the models. I know there's a anime show. Didn't watch the
Mm-hmm.
show too much, but mostly off the models. But that's how I came up with this name, and I don't know. It was safe. It was just I guess there's an iteration to my first name in the T. A lot of people think TM stands for trademark, which is fine with me. Works good. But actually, the T is Tony, and then M is actually supposed to be my middle name, but neither here
Hmm.
nor there.
Nice, nice. I actually did watch that show as a kid. I loved that show. I really loved things with mechs when I was a kid, but as I got older, I kind of fell off that, and I'm not particularly a model builder, but I do have a friend who's very into Gundam and all of those.
That makes sense. I know Gundam's more popular, and Transformers, probably those two would be your bigger mech, more famous, maybe more noticeable. I don't
Yeah,
know.
perhaps. I think they're just more into making the models because I don't think the shows are as popular as like the models and stuff. I feel like there's way more Gundam models than there is anything to do with the shows, but what do I know?
That's true. I mean, especially probably not here much in the States, but if you go to Japan, that is, I guess, the gold mine for all your models, all your statues. I guess from what I know, I haven't been just from the vlogs and the YouTube
Yeah,
channels I
yeah.
watch. So
Well, I mean, I guess there's probably more money in selling a lot of model kits than just like whatever money they make on TV shows.
that's also true. Yeah. Last question about your username, though, because I am curious. Were you ever nervous of using your name? I know some people are very like, you talk about the internet and growing up with the internet. We were always
Yeah.
told stranger danger, don't use your name, use a fake name, use your fake age, don't give any of your personal information out. And then here we are using Andy.
Well, honestly, I feel like a lot of people prefer to be anonymous on the internet, especially these days. You have VTubers and people who don't show their face, don't say their name. You don't know anything about them. If you saw them in public, you'd never know them. I guess I didn't assume that fame would come so fast, and it certainly hasn't, where I've felt like I should have hidden any part of who I am. Plus, I feel like I know a lot of really famous people who just put it all out there. You know their real names. Like heck, half of them you could probably find their address on the internet. That's not a good thing, but I guess it was always something I figured I'd worry more about if I got that big. And at the moment, I mean, I honestly could have just given away my full name. I've seen people whose usernames are just their full name. And I probably wouldn't have thought much about it. But for the time being, all people really have on me is Andy. And so if we got that famous, I don't think there's too much to worry about there. Andy is such a common name. I mean, I have always been one of many Andrews in a classroom or anything like that. It's always a name you can find on gas station keychains. It's not unique. So if you want to find me in a sea of other Andrews, I think good luck.
Damn. Yeah, yeah, I don't know, man. You're tempting them. I think you're calling people out. They'll be like, oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, it's a challenge. Find my real name. I mean, most of the people who come to my stream do know my real name at this point, but that's only because like Instagram loves to recommend people's main accounts when everyone knows their other account. It's a really good tactic.
yeah, very safe as we went back to the safety.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah. Well, the internet's not a safe place.
actually,
Careful out there, kids.
this is true, which is a good segue for a PSA. A quick PSA for people that use Discord. I see this all the time, talking about real usernames. You
Hmm.
mentioned this. When you connect your Spotify, people, keep in mind it shows your real name. There's many times I do my best and message him. I don't just blast it out there for in a Discord call or anything.
Hmm.
But I'm like, hey, I clicked your profile. By the way, your whole name is, your YouTube. Your whole name's
Hmm.
your Spotify. I don't know if you want everybody to know that. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, didn't know that was a thing. So safety,
That that
people.
Yeah, that's actually funny. That I had that same issue for a different reason. I decided at one point to share some playlists I made on Spotify for my stream, and my Spotify was still my full name. I didn't realize that as soon as they clicked the link for the playlist, it displayed my full name. So I changed my Spotify name to match Andy Righteous here.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably safer that way.
Probably.
But going off of safety, people don't like safe stuff. We're dangerous. We're gamers, you know? But talking about gaming, were you a gamer when you were a wee lad? Where did it all start? When did you enjoy video games? When did you get introduced first to video games?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was actually talking about this earlier this week, but I mean, I started with the PlayStation 1 and it was my dad's console. I really don't know when my dad was ever playing video games because even as a kid, I remember playing that PlayStation, but I don't remember him playing it. Probably something he just picked up because he thought, "Hey, maybe if I have a free time." But then he had a kid and well, kids tend to take the time for fun out of things. But it was a PlayStation 1, only had a few games, but those games have really been something that always stuck with me as like serious nostalgia. But games like Spyro the Dragon were like some of my first and those like platformer story games type of things were definitely my favorite for a long time. Definitely what I played the most of. I still do find the time to play some of those today, but I have certainly gotten sucked into the world of competitive esports and first person shooters and third person and all of that. I feel like that's what you get, especially when gaming gets more social, you know? For me, as a kid, I was always gaming alone much more often. But yeah, I mean, started with story games and PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, definitely always a PlayStation kid.
Interesting. So you say, first with the PlayStation, or your family, I should say, were your family very supportive? Because I know there's a lot of people that I've interviewed or people that I talked to that, their family actually hated video games. It was a religious thing, or they didn't, agree with video games or didn't like what video games portrayed. So was your family supportive? Did you ever play with your family with video games? I know you said your dad bought the PlayStation, but you said you never saw him play it.
It's funny you asked that. No one's ever asked me that, and there is a bit of story behind that, I guess. I mean, as a kid, they were not supportive for sure. I was definitely the one who took the interest in the PlayStation and all the video games. I played a lot of them as a kid because, well, being social was difficult. I definitely was not the most popular kid in like elementary school, so video games were kind of really where I turned. My family definitely didn't like that. I don't know if they were just worried that I would have too many issues socially, or what it meant. There was definitely a negative connotation on video games in like the early 2000s. People started thinking they were like melting your brain and just like making kids like I don't know, bad or something. But when I was a kid, they were not such a fan. As I got older and they saw that I was social and a capable adult and could have a job and everything, I mean, they've certainly been supportive. They've been very supportive with the streaming, like way more than I would have expected. They've been super supportive, even though they don't always understand it. And, um, but even so, very supportive now. As a kid, though, I mean, I guess we played some Wii games, but not too much. Not, they never got too into it. I don't know. The Wii was a nice family console and probably the last of its kind. Ever since then, I couldn't remember the last time they picked up a game unless it was like something on their phone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And talking about your stream really quick, do they watch your stream or no? They just know you stream and they kind of like, oh, that's good,
Yeah.
honey.
Pretty much. I'm not sure if they've ever tuned in. Most of the time, they say that they see the notifications on like Instagram or something that I'm going live, and I've shown them like what the stream looks like a few times, and they're like very impressed. But I don't think they come by, and that's probably for the best because I'd be speaking another language. It's all Zoomer talk around here.
That's very fair. Very fair. Talking about the social, you said you were very antisocial, kept to yourself. So you never invited friends over. You never went to somebody's house and did the split screen and played video games while somebody was sitting next to you, and or no siblings, nothing of that sort. And you were just a loner with the video games.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, as a younger kid, like elementary school, I did have my handful of friends. But let's just say I wasn't the most popular in school. And sure, we'd play video games sometimes, but I definitely spent more time outside touching grass as a kid. Once I got to like middle school and I had some more friends, I got some better social skills, branched out a bit. I definitely had friends that would go and play video games at night with them, whatever. But I was never like a Call of Duty kid, so I wasn't too big on like the split screen gaming. But I mean, I'd say though my social skills got better and I spent a lot more time outside and with friends and like I don't know, I like my social life really started to bloom when I was in middle school. And from there on, but games were still not a super social point for me. I mostly played single player games myself. As I said, I wasn't a Call of Duty kid, so there wasn't much to go over and play with other people unless maybe it was like racing games or something. Sometimes I had friends that were like super into that and they'd want to play those all the time. But really, not until I started streaming did like gaming become a very, very social thing. Now I'd say it's an extremely social thing for me.
Very interesting. I feel like that's different for us in the past because I feel like when I was younger, same thing, PlayStation. But I always feel like people were over, we played Madden or the sports games.
Yeah.
Um, I know if people had the Xbox, you had Halo. So, you had the split
Hmm.
screen for Halo. So it's always interesting when it comes to that. But you mentioned PlayStation, so everybody has to know what is your favorite PlayStation game?
Oh man. I mean, PlayStation's always had good originals. As a kid, I guess the things that were pretty unique to that were like Jack and Daxter or like Ratchet and Clank. Luckily, they brought a newer iteration of Ratchet and Clank in the years, so maybe some people still know about that series. If you don't know Jack and Daxter, you should always get some emulators, try that out. But these days, my favorite's got to be the God of War series. I think they do an incredible job with those, and the newer games tell such a beautiful story. I didn't really play the older ones as much. I've touched on them a few times, but I don't know. They got me with the newer ones. They're some really grade A like story games in my opinion.
Talking about Jack Dexter, I could be wrong, but I feel like I just saw that they were moving it to PC and it was playable on the PC, but I could be wrong.
Really?
I
I mean,
believe
if there's
so.
a, if they, whenever they do remastered collections, I love it. They did a remaster of all the Spyro games a little while ago. If they remastered Jack and Daxter, I would be the first one to buy that. They can take my money again.
There you go. And then, of course, a classic. Are you more of a PlayStation fan or more of an Xbox fan?
Definitely PlayStation. I did have a few of the Xbox consoles, but for the most part, I think I've had every PlayStation console at some point or other. And I was at the PSP was way ahead of its time. I didn't get the PS Vita or whatever followed that, but the PSP was like full 3D games in a portable console at a time where your only other competition was like a Game Boy Advance. It was just, or I guess there was the Nintendo DS, but then it was like, man, what did we have? Like 2-inch screens or something? It was just crazy. Um, Definitely a big PlayStation fan. Nothing against Xbox, but I don't know. I guess I never paid attention as much to their originals. They had Halo and like what else? I don't know.
That's fair. I feel like PlayStation's actually getting shit on since their last what was the game announcements. There was no games for PlayStation. Xbox has all these releases coming. I don't know. I'm not an Xbox fan. I'm in with you. I'm more of a PlayStation fan myself. So I'm
Yeah, well,
curious.
I mean, I think these days, like in the market, Xbox is definitely pulling ahead because of how they've integrated all their Xbox stuff with PC. You've got Game Pass on PC, you've got all the games that go to Xbox first also go to PC, and I think that PC gaming might be more popular than consoles these days.
That's a fair assumption. I think either they're. I think PCs though are still not as accessible as consoles. But then again, we had COVID, of course, and then during that we had the two consoles that were like impossible to find anywhere. You couldn't get your hands on a PlayStation or an Xbox for a minute. I feel like
That's true. I feel like it's only just now, years after that, you can go to any store and like buy a PlayStation 5.
this is true. And do you have a favorite out of your PlayStation consoles? Do you like the nostalgia? Do you prefer the PlayStation 1? Have they done a good job with the PlayStation 5 in your opinion or
Hmm. I think they've done a good job with the PlayStation 5, but I think these days game developers move slower. I feel like everyone takes years to release a game, and I feel like they haven't kept up with the PS5. There's not enough reason to buy games on PS5 over on another thing. Like I'll always buy them on PC first because I stream and it's just easier that way, but also because unless it's like specifically for the PS5, there's not too much reason to buy it on there over somewhere else. Um, Especially with things like the Steam Deck and powerful like portable gaming systems, which I have one of. So always having that option is nice. But I think hardware wise and functionality wise, they've done a good job. I just think they're gonna like move past the PS5 before we even see a good library of games for it. And I mean, as far as my favorite, I don't know. My favorite is probably the PlayStation 2. You know, that's where my roots are. That's where I probably played the most games. Where like my favorite games come from. I think the PS3 and PS4 were kind of unremarkable, but the PS4 had a very long slot in history as being like the console. I feel like that was the console for like what? I don't know. I feel like it was popular for like 8 years or something.
It was a long
Um,
time, yeah. I
like
feel
way
like
longer than the PS5 will be. But sorry, you were saying?
no, I was just gonna say I think it's because they made the jump so quick from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, like I feel like what it was in 2 years or like shorter than that. I feel like the PlayStation 3 came out and all of a sudden the PlayStation 4 was there. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I agree. I agree. It was very short, but then the PS3 was just super unremarkable. So I don't think anybody was like sad about that.
that's fair. Very true.
I think it was at that time whatever Xbox had out at the same time as PS3 did like way better then. Was that the 360 maybe?
Around that time, I think we were getting closer to what the Xbox One at that point, but I could be
Hmm,
wrong.
maybe.
It's
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that whole like generation of consoles got a little bit they kind of missed their mark.
as usual. You know how that goes. There's good years,
Yeah.
bad years, and then. So, would you buy a PlayStation 6 then if it came out, or would you wait because of the library issues in the gaming, like you said?
Hmm. You know, I don't know. I got lucky enough when the PS5 came out to get one like on release. My friend's brother got a bunch of them, and he was kind enough to sell it to me for retail, which is insane on his part, but lucky me. Um, and at the time, I like justified it because I was like, "Oh, I'm a streamer. I got to play like the newest PS5 games." But let me tell you, I think that's been like 3 games that were notably like, "Oh, I got to play this on PS5," and many of them came out quite a while after the PS5 dropped. So I think if I were to run and get a PlayStation 6, it's unlikely that there would be some game on it that I would be like missing out on if I didn't get it on release. Unless it's Grand Theft Auto 6, you know. I don't know what they're going to do with that yet.
Oh, jeez. If we ever get the release, I mean, people
Yeah,
have been
right.
wanting this forever now. So
Well, there's a rumor it would come out for the next generation of console. And if it's going to come out on there, you know that's going to be up there. But I don't know. It's a weird thing. To me, it's like GTA 5 has kept relevant on Twitch, like incredibly relevant because of role playing servers and stuff. So I don't know if GTA 6 would have that same relevancy, you know? GTA 6 would be popular for the story at first, but if it was just a story game, it would never stay on top of Twitch all the time like it does.
I think with updated graphics and new things, if they have the same capabilities as 5, I think you could see the same role playing for just 6.
Yeah, I mean that depends on if they do that. And if Rockstar doesn't make like you know, the online servers and the role-playing capability and all of that with their GTA 6, they are just totally blind to what the consumers want.
Yeah,
That's like the whole reason that GTA 5 has stayed popular is like because they've allowed moddable online servers for like role-playing.
yeah. I'm curious if that's why they're waiting it out to see if anything dies down and then release it. See if they can get that hype back up because maybe they're just like, oh, this is doing fine on its own. We don't need to really touch it.
Probably a good part of that, right? I mean, that's what everything's about these days with consumer tech is making it, you know, they plan when it's going to become obsolete.
Very, very fair. Moving forward though into the PlayStation to PC gaming, when did this all happen? When did it start? When we were like, I can game on a PC, or when did you get your first gaming PC? Maybe that's two different questions, but when did gaming on the PC start?
Well, that started when I started streaming. I really was console only until I decided I wanted to stream. When I decided I wanted to stream, I was honestly, I kind of can't remember if I decided first I wanted to build a crazy PC or if I decided I wanted to stream. But they definitely went hand in hand, a little bit of both. I like decided I wanted a PC, decided I should stream, decided it should be a crazier PC, got super into all that, and was like, okay, I want to do some of this. Um, there was a lot of times before that that I considered streaming, but I don't know. I didn't have the means to. Console streaming was a very clunky experience. And a PC was just going to offer all of that, but I really had no idea what it would get me into. Like, maybe it was just a matter of the times because I think Discord just wasn't so popular prior to now anyway, but I really think that getting on a PC is what got me into Discord, and Discord has led to so many different like social experiences for me. And that socialization has definitely made gaming better and bigger and more important in my life, but also been kind of the catapult for streaming and everything. But yeah, so I mean, I guess I've been, on PC for about 3 years now, and only on like mouse and keyboard for probably like 2 years. I was still using a controller when I started, but now I'm a big fan of Valorant, and there's no way around that.
That's very interesting. 3 years. So you didn't use it. You didn't use a computer in school, or you didn't need anything for
Oh,
projects,
I
or
oh I did, but it was like, crappy laptops, like Google Chromebooks, like that type of thing.
interesting. It's so strange. And you're out of school now, right? Correct.
Yeah. Well, actually, so when I was in college, I mean, I went to school for photography. It's still something I very much do, and I had a MacBook, so you can't play any games on there either. It was a very nice computer, and I still have it, but you can't play games on it.
Interesting. And do you ever intertwine your photography with your streaming, or is that two separate things that you keep separate?
Hmm. I mean, intertwined in what way? I'd say that it's pretty separate. I'd say there is the degree of like the quality of my video, the quality of my audio, the quality of like what I'm gifting, like on stream is something that I very much tried to bring my like photography eye to and like just give the best quality possible in terms of visuals, background, lighting, everything else. Um Sometimes I show my photography on stream, but it's not like a super intertwined thing. I don't think I would like live stream a photo shoot or something. I think it's very niche. I don't think people are as interested in that as some photographers think. And I think that the only people that are really interested in photography are other photographers. And most of the time, there's a competitive spirit there. At least I kind of feel that. Um, so yeah, they're pretty separate, but it's definitely something else I work on much in my life. And we were speaking earlier about like full names. My full name is out there, but it's mostly associated with my photography. So I'm no stranger to putting my full name out there.
Oh, see, full circle. It all makes sense now. Maybe you'll become a
Yeah.
famous photographer, and then people will find your Twitch and be like, "Wait a minute, I bought your art at this art museum, and now you're here streaming."
I think it's a little more likely I become famous with streaming, and then that helps my photography. I feel like there's like, I don't know, can you name a famous photographer? I don't think there's like a
I
household name for photographers, you
I
know?
can't, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
but
I
there.
think a,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think a
Go ahead.
lot of people don't know like famous photographers' names. I don't It's like it's a niche thing. It really is. They might know the photos, but they don't know the author behind them. So I think that for a lot of people also though, getting famous on social media is what has catapulted their other careers, whether it's like cooking or I don't know, car things or whatever, in my case it would be photography because that is an unfortunate thing about the art world, but I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for a later question if you have one. But
No, that's fair. Understandable. So, what are some notable games that got you into PC gaming? You said you started streaming because, or you got a PC because of streaming. Was there
mhm.
a game that you wanted to play on the PC, or is it just strictly because you're like, I'm gonna stream, I want to do Twitch, or I want to do this?
Well, I guess it was really to stream, but I did very quickly get interested in what the PC could offer. I mean, the first game I came to streaming with and I played on my PC was Apex Legends. And Apex ran so much better on my PC than my console. It was like a whole different game. I played on controller at first, but I also got like Cyberpunk was the first game that I ever streamed on Twitch, and that wasn't. I don't think there's too many PC exclusive games unless you're talking like Valorant. And I even resisted Valorant for a while. I had friends that were super into it, but it was such a hard game. It was strictly mouse and keyboard. I was like, dude, this game is terrible. I don't know what's going on. I can't hit anyone. These guys are crazy. And then somehow I got hooked on it, and that is when I really buckled down and learned mouse and keyboard.
A lot of people were anti-Valorant because of the Vanguard that you have to install on your computer. People are like, I don't want to ride in my computer. I don't want them to know what I have or download it.
I don't blame them, but I would say this. I don't think Riot gives a damn about anything on your computer, but it does mess your computer up. I mean, just the other night when I was streaming Valorant, like I have an issue particularly with Valorant on my computer where if I tab out too quickly and like click my browser or something, my whole computer freezes and I have to restart my PC. This was happening to my friend as well, and he sent a like question to Riot to ask what he should do. And they said that it was an issue with something. He had to like reinstall Windows. I'm like,
Oh
dude,
God.
this is an insane amount of stuff to do for one game, and it's anti-cheat that doesn't even work because I have been in matches with cheaters. I've had matches get terminated because there was a cheater in it detected, which is like a really crazy screen. But you know, it is definitely like an invasive program, but it doesn't care about your files. Your biggest risk is that it might mess up your PC, and if you love the game as much as me, you're just gonna put up with it. I don't
You
know.
just got to gamble. You're just like, let's roll the dice. Today, will my PC turn on or will it be broken?
Yeah, yeah, all for Valorant. What a good game, man.
Oh, I know Vanguard pops up every time. We've locked something on your PC, and it's always the specific lighting, I guess. Something with the
Yeah.
RGB
Oh, really?
controller,
It's
something
weird.
along the something on the motherboard. It just does
Hmm.
not like it. It's like we've blocked this. I was like, all right, you keep blocking it as long as it
That's
works.
weird.
I don't know. It
Yeah, I
blocks
mean,
it all the time.
I honestly like. I will say though, it does a better job than most anti-cheat. You have like BattleNet or whatever has their thing, and whatever. I don't. There's the one for Overwatch, the one for Apex. Those are the other two like anti-cheats that are mostly used, and you always have people complaining about like people cheating in those games, and Counter Strike 2, which is Valve, Steam's anti-cheat, and I don't know, man. None of the anti cheats seem to really work because people get a lot of cheaters in those games. So there must be something to be said about it, right? Valorant is it's doing something. I don't
That's
know.
that's fair. I mean, and so would you say this opens the door for other companies in the future to be like, oh, this new cheating program, anti-cheat program we have, would you willing to install more stuff on your PC to quote unquote stop a cheater? Or would that deter you? Because you said Valorant already gives you enough problems and gives you issues depending on if you do something too fast or your PC breaks.
Yeah, I think it would deter me. If I'm on the fence about a game and it has a super invasive anti cheat, like if I was had to install Vanguard for a different game that I was like not sure about, I would just say, nah, I'm not gonna play it. Because Vanguard is like super invasive, and I had to like turn off safe mode on my PC and like restart it a bunch of times like to get Vanguard working properly. If I had to do that for like something I'm like not sure about, just want to like try, like dude, I'm not gonna do that. What is that? Why would I even? I don't know. But I don't know about it. Maybe I'm different. Who knows? But that's how I feel.
No, I was in the same boat. I was very anti. I was anti Valorant because of that reason. I was like, I'm not selling this. And then I
Yeah,
remember,
I think I would just say, Tony, that Valorant is just incredible. So you know what, man, it's worth it.
And then people started playing. They're like, "Why don't you play?" And then I remember the first time I installed it, I was like, "Oh, no big deal." I restarted my PC and I load into a game, or I tried to load into a game. It kept crashing. I was like, "I'm about to uninstall this because this is pissing me." It was making me
Yeah.
so, and it was like, "You need to go in, like you said, to your BIOS and turn something off and allow this." And I was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen such a program just to play a video game." I was like, "This better be worth it," which it is. Valorant, right? This is their thing. They've clearly
Yeah.
done something. Moving though on to actual Twitch now. You said you got your PC because of Twitch. The first common question is, how did you find Twitch? How did you get into Twitch?
Hmm. How did I find Twitch? I guess well, I guess like overall, I had kind of prior to COVID, because I definitely started the streaming thing in the midst of COVID, like a lot of people did. Prior to COVID, I had this office job doing photography that was just absolutely terrible. And I had a coworker there who was like, your skills are really incredible. You should do something for yourself. And I was like, Now they probably meant do some photography business for myself, whatever. But for me, it was like, how can I combine what I love with something I want to do? And it was like something that I loved through my entire life has been video games. Something else that I love is like, visuals and filmmaking and all of that. And somewhere in between that, I felt was streaming. I don't know if streaming was necessarily what I thought at first. Maybe I thought YouTube, maybe something like that. I remember watching a lot of YouTube creators and stuff, and that kind of inspiring me. And seeing that they did their streams on Twitch and seeing what streams were about, I don't know. It seemed like the energy that I wanted. Just doing recordings to nobody never felt never felt good enough. But going live, I mean, also to nobody in the beginning, but going live became something now, at least, where it's very social. It's like people come and hang out with me. I guess that's the benefit of being a small streamer, you know? When I hopefully someday get bigger, then it's going to be like less personal. But I don't know. I guess I wanted to make something out of my love for video games. And I wanted also, more than anything, on the most wholesome level, to like make some friends because that seemed like what Twitch could be about, playing with other people, meeting other people who loved games, all of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what took me to Twitch. And there wasn't really any other streaming platforms at the time.
Interesting. So is there nobody specifically that you watch or remember were your first streamer? Quote unquote
I mean, I
streamer.
guess back then was like J Schlatt and I don't know. I mean, honestly, I watched a lot of people on YouTube more than I did on Twitch. But somehow I just knew that Twitch was kind of the place to be. I mean, I'd heard of streaming. I'd had friends who streamed before, personal friends who were still doing streams occasionally. A friend who always loved to make his streams look as good as possible, but like he would go live very little, even though he was always like making his streams look shinier. I don't know why, but I don't know, there was like Jay Schlatt and there was like all of the big people at the time that I looked at that I like compared to. I saw like Saikuno and all the people in like offline TV streaming and whatever, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I guess like Markiplier too, but of course you think, oh hey, that looks easy. And then when I started streaming, I was very like timid. I was very shy on camera. I think a lot of us are. You don't find your voice or your confidence in front of the camera until you've done it for quite a while. But I guess that's the nice thing about starting streaming to no one, right? No one to really catch all that embarrassment.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And yeah, you gotta, it's the learning curve. You gotta go into it and just go feet first, and then sometimes it works, and sometimes you adjust things as you go.
Yeah, but it's definitely a confidence also that has like carried with me beyond streaming, which is really nice. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a greater confidence when speaking, I think, than before I streamed.
That's fair. I mean, especially streaming, you gotta be constantly talking, constantly asking people questions, depending on how your stream is, and getting to
Yeah.
know somebody, and then keeping, like I said, just the stream, fluent, where you're in game and talking to people or talking just to make sure your stream is constantly active, or you know you're not
Oh
like a
yeah.
robot pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
So nobody helped you with stream? Like nobody helped you like, okay, go to Twitch, this is what you're gonna do. Nobody like told you you should stream. Well, besides
Hmm.
your coworker, it sounded like that said it sounded more
Yeah.
photography like though than
Yeah,
streaming.
yeah. Well, I mean, no, not exactly. I did have one friend, like I said, who was always making his stream like look better. So I guess I asked him some of my first tech questions, but I wouldn't say he was even a huge advocate for it because he barely did it himself. I did very much start this on my own without much other influence, and I do think that's also something that slowed me down in the beginning. I didn't start growing on Twitch until I started making friends, like kind of networking and stuff. Until I started making other streamers like friends and like just like meeting their community, just a little bit of sharing all between everyone. And of course a little generosity in the beginning because I had no one to no community to share with them. But I did it all alone knowing no one. And that was just I don't know. It's like I look at how other people do, especially like friends of mine who come to my stream and then start streaming. And I'll be the first one to send everyone in my community there. And, luckily people are mostly loyal and don't like leave forever. Although, I've had some negative instances of this little bit of oversharing of communities. But for the most part, it gives people such a head start. They start out in their first streams, they have like at least 10 viewers. And look, that's a world of difference from when you're starting just trying to make affiliate on Twitch and can barely even get those 3 viewers. It is a world of difference, man.
Yeah, it is big.
So it's a nice head start, I guess I should have made some friends on Twitch before I started going live.
So when you say friends, are you talking about more just networking? Because it seems like there's a blurred line. Because you talked about going back from your previous comments from questions
Yeah.
was like you made friends, you really opened the doors up when you got to Discord. So streaming, are you using streaming to meet people, I guess, and friends, and having like a social aspect in that aspect? Or are you using it more as a networking and this is to grow yourself as a streamer? And they're not really fat friends, quote unquote, parasocial, uh, you know,
Mm,
behavior, and it's more of a networking thing.
yeah. Well, I'd say there's a little bit of both. I'd say that um, I am personally on Discord a lot. To where I hang out with my friends. If I'm playing games, there's a good chance I'm on Discord and playing them with other people. Even if they're single player games, I'm probably just hanging out in a call. And I welcome many people to become part of that, kind of inner circle and become real friends with me. I think the parasocial issue just comes up with viewers. That if someone's strictly a viewer in my chat, don't get me wrong. I know you, I recognize you, I respect you, and I appreciate your support. But I don't know that you can call yourself my friend if if the only time we interact is in my chat. It's not until I hang out with someone off stream that I really think that that line is crossed and we can really call each other friends. When it comes to other streamers, yes, part of it is networking, but there's also a certain kinship in meeting other people who do what you do and engage in that struggle of like content creation and getting recognized and everything else. And I would say the other streamers I've met, I do make more of an effort to become real friends with, and I have. Any other streamers I call my friends, I would say really are like my friends. At least I see them that way. Maybe they don't think so highly of me, but if I just know them, I would say they're just someone I know. But most other streamers I call friends, I've hung out with off stream and like have made a personal relationship with. But that's still the biggest thing. And even if it's like just, not actually friends and hanging out in chats, if someone wants to start streaming, I'd say that's your biggest starting point. Get in some streams, chat with some people, learn what it's like, make some acquaintances, make some good impressions, and you'd be amazed how far that will go in helping your own stream.
That clears that up. I was just trying to get more clarity because it seemed like the line was kind of blurred, but you made sense of it now. It's more of
Yeah,
a
yeah. I make a lot of real friends this way, but not everyone who comes into chat and I call friend is really a friend. And, people should know that. If the only time we talk is in chat, I would rethink how close you think we are.
Somebody right now is like panicking. They're like, "Oh my god, I thought he was my
Yeah.
friend."
Yeah. Unless you're one of my close friends and I just don't, I'm shit at texting. In that case, don't take it personally. But thanks for coming to stream.
Oh boy. I'm talking more about stream. If somebody talking about the first person that comes into your or first new person that comes into your stream, sorry, I apologize, and they
Mhm.
want to know what you stream or what your stream's about, what would you tell
Um, I'd say that my stream is variety gaming with a lot of just chatting. I mean, I always try to start the streams out with like an hour at least of chatting. Um, so it's a little bit of everything, but we're here to play games, really give some critical insight onto games. I'd say that reviewing is one of my favorite things when it comes to games. Um, but variety, a good amount of Fortnite and community games, and also just a good amount of chatting. Always love to talk, have a good conversation, maybe watch some videos people send in or whatever, put some insight out there. Yeah.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say more FPS games, but I can see, the
Yeah,
variety games.
yeah, it just happens. I think in my heart of hearts, I would prefer to be like streaming just story games every time and talking about them and like, what makes them. But I don't think that that's really what Twitch wants. And I don't even think that FPS games, I don't think games are what Twitch wants. Let's face it. The largest category by far, the category whose numbers will eat every other category on Twitch combined is just chatting. People don't come to a live stream to watch games, really.
You
They
th-
come to a live stream to talk and to be heard. They want to find a community to make their own friends. They want to find a community to be heard in. They want to put their message in chat and have a streamer respond to it, at least for smaller streamers. Like, I think that's what it's all about. Um, so even I myself am like not totally sure what I should do. Like, maybe I should be doing less games. Maybe I should be doing more just chatting. But I think for me, in my heart, I always love games, and I got to keep games a part of what I do on Twitch.
Makes sense. The just chatting part, do you think that, brings your community closer? Do you feel like there's better connection? You get to keep your viewer that way? Or is it just you wouldn't just enjoy chatting and it's just a good way to start the stream?
No, I think it's a little bit all of that. I mean, I do enjoy chatting. Don't get me wrong. I totally enjoy that. I enjoy just yapping and sharing about myself and hearing what others have to say. But I think chatting can also be a really hard thing to do because I think that if you don't have a very responsive chat, it's hard to keep a conversation with yourself going. Um, when the chat is like flowing and there's tons of things to like bounce off of, it can be so good. And those are the kinds of streams I could chat for the entire, however many hours we're gonna go. Um, so there's a part of me that loves that for sure, and it definitely brings us closer because that's how we get to know each other, hear how people's days are going. People get to make friends with other people in chat. Um, when you play games, it's definitely not the same. And when someone comes in and their chat isn't heard, they are so likely to just leave. They care so much less about just coming in and watching someone play a game than they do anything else. So I guess in that way, streaming's a little different than what I came here to do, but it's still a fun experience and it's still something I definitely thrive on.
Interesting. And for somebody that's just starting to stream, you kind of gave advice earlier, but if you could give one piece of advice to a new streamer, what would it be?
Mm. I guess if I gave a different piece of advice than I said earlier, other than networking, I would say to just, you know, Um, not count the numbers in the beginning. Don't ever get discouraged. I probably streamed to 3 viewers for the first 6 months of my time on Twitch. And after that, it's all blown up. And I've met so many people. And, there's been high points and low points in the streams and whatever. But even so, it really like took off from there. And the only way for it to ever take off is if you don't give up. People will recognize that you are always live. And, if things aren't going up, there's always something you can do. There's something you can improve, someone you can learn from. Learn from other streamers, Go to other streams, see what they do, see what's keeping people interested. Even personality traits, look at how they talk to people, what kind of energy they bring. That is all a part of it. But most of all, just don't get discouraged and don't count the numbers, because it's just going to get in your head and make you, a lesser streamer. You can't be confident and funny and having fun if you're always worried about how many people are there.
That's very true. I think that is a good tip. Hide the numbers and just stream and enjoy the game and chat, even if you're talking to yourself, as long as you're talking and having fun. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about Twitch more specifically, do you think that Twitch gives you the proper tools that you need as a streamer?
I guess that Twitch gives us a lot. I guess they don't give us total control, but I mean, they give us a lot. I don't know. We don't really like to give credit to Twitch, right? And luckily this isn't something on Twitch, so I can say these things. But we don't like to give a lot of credit to Twitch, because at the end of the day, for what they do offer us, it is not enough for how much of our profits they take. Especially for me as a small streamer. I mean, I get not that many subs, and they still take half of them. Half of them in an amount that, for one, is not making an impact in how much money Twitch makes. It's so small that it's like, I don't know. It's like taxes, I make so little, they should be giving me what little I do make. The couple $100 they get from me, that is a blip on the radar in their income. And yet they still take half of it. And that half could make a huge difference to a small streamer. But as far as the tools they give us, what do they give us? I don't know. They give us a space and a bandwidth. They don't promote us, and they don't, I don't know. They don't have our back like that. I think most people are just afraid of being banned, because Twitch has that power. And yet, here's the thing that Twitch does give us, and it's by no fault of their own. There is what's the word? A culture. There's a culture to Twitch of spending money. And that's the reason that even at the smallest levels, we can get on here and make some sort of money and even some sort of living for some people at such a small level. Even people with only 70 viewers can make at least a month-to-month living streaming, because there is such a culture of spending money on Twitch. And this is what's different on platforms like YouTube. You don't go to YouTube and think, hey, I'm going to spend money. You don't go to YouTube and think, hey, I'm going to find this guy I like and tip him $5. You don't do that. It's just not what people do on YouTube. But you do think it on Twitch. You do think, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to gift 5 subs. Hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to drop 500 bits. Like, it's just what you do on Twitch. And that culture of spending money and supporting streamers is what allows this like website to be profitable even on the smallest level. I think they take way too much from their streamers though, and I think it can really defeat smaller streamers, and it's very unfair. I think if anything, I mean, the way the distribution should work is like the people talk a lot about like the 70-30 split on Twitch. At a super small level, you should make a 70-30 split. If you're like a partner, it should be 50-50, because you're already making so much, and that is that's like the real amount that's going to make Twitch money. That's like, they have more to give. I don't know. It's like, maybe it's the wrong way to look at it. But of course, then the other side of the coin is that the big streamers would leave. Why would you ever be on Twitch if you have that big of a following and they're taking that much of your money? There are other platforms now. There's things like Kick and, other sites that give a bigger split of that money, but it's very hard. As a small streamer, your options are limited. Your visibility is limited. I think there's 10 times fewer people that go on a site like Kick and just find small streams. I think if you have the community and you can send them to the platform you want, send them away from Twitch. Send them somewhere where it's going to do more for you. Because at the end of the day, Twitch is really just hosting us. They're giving us the bandwidth. And, I don't know. I've seen people move to Kick, and I've seen them be so much more successful. But it's because they had the community, and they were able to say, hey, follow me to Kick. I could not do that. I think I'd have no one if I went to Kick. But, it is what it is.
I was not expecting that response. That's a loaded answer that you gave. That was
Sorry,
something. No, no, you're
hopefully that's
good.
appropriate for your
No,
thing,
no, you're
but yeah.
fine. You're a okay. I mean, some people play it safe. Some people rip into Twitch. So I appreciate it. I did want to delve a little bit into the financial aspect of it, not how much you make or anything like that. No,
Of course, of
but
course.
you mentioned that Twitch makes this money, but from time and time again, we've seen these articles and these quote unquote quarters where Twitch is actually in the negative and not making money. So do you feel like are they doing something wrong um, somewhere else where they could make that money or that profit because they're clearly not making a profit? Well, they say they're not making a profit.
Yeah, I think they say they're not making a profit. I think that is skewed. I don't know what that means. I think one, Twitch is owned by Amazon. So, Daddy Bezos has a lot of money to back Twitch, more than enough for Twitch to be the company's loss leader and claim tax benefits. So, first of all, just because you see Twitch isn't making money, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a problem for Amazon. But second of all, I think they must be doing something wrong. You've got so many streamers, so many big streamers. You're already taking at least 50% of their money, plus claiming ad revenue on so much. Like, it's hard to believe they wouldn't be making money. But where I would say they could do things better to make both people money is some things I've actually very recently seen implemented. They've implemented where you can use bits in the channel points section to make redeems. They need to incentivize more sales because that's going to help them and it's going to help the streamers. The more money people spend on Twitch, the more money the streamer's going to make, and the more money that Twitch is going to make. But I couldn't imagine where they're spending those funds that they don't have the money. It's not on advertising. If it's simply on bandwidth, I don't know, man. I'm not really sure how that works or how much a server costs to run, but I think the number one thing they got to do if they're losing money and streamers are, of course, also not not as in the positives as before. They just need to do things to better incentivize. Incentivize like the subs, incentivize the bits, incentivize the donations, like just do more, to improve that culture of spending money on Twitch. A part of the reason that it's not as good on sites like YouTube is because they don't have things like gifting. They don't have things like bits. They don't have things that are so conducive to like sharing with the community. The best thing about gift subs is that is someone being nice to your community. Someone gifts 5 subs, that is 5 viewers that get a free subscription that can use the emotes and not have ads and everything else. It does something for the community. It's not just about giving to the streamer, it's about giving back to the community. Um, so I think there's a lot that Twitch could do, but I think they've caught a lot of negative view lately because of their actions with things like advertising and changing the splits and everything else. If Twitch needs to make more money, they need to find a way to drive more income to the site. They can't just take it from the streamers. They already take so much from the creators. Taking it from the streamers, I think, will really drive their downfall. And some other site is gonna take over. Some site like Kick.
Interesting, interesting. A little bit deeper. We keep going deeper into this.
That's
Where,
fine.
um, now Twitch has recently announced. I don't know if you've seen, but Twitch actually announced that they are going to raise the prices come July, I believe, or is it August? July, I believe. They're raising the tier 1 subs by $1. I know that may not seem a lot there, but $1 could go a long way for a lot of people, depending on how many people you're subbed to. Do you think that
That's true.
will do you think that will incentivize people to go away from individually subbing to people and just going for turbo in the future? Then is that going to be the way to go? Because
Hmm.
if you follow 5 people and you sub to 5 people, that's $5 extra, which I know, like I said, doesn't seem a lot, and people like to support their streamer. But hey, that's $5. Hey, I need $5 for gas. That's $5 for lunch. That's $5 I can go to my bills or something, whatever that case may be.
Yeah. Well, I think the people that support currently that choose to subscribe of their own money or choose to gift a lot of subs, I don't think it's going to make a difference to them. I think they want to support, and I think the cost is a secondary question where a dollar isn't going to make the difference. If it was double the price, it would make a difference. But to those who want to support, I think they still will. I think on Twitch's end, I think that's a little bit of an iffy move. You know, I don't know this for a fact. Do you know? Are the streamers going to get like 50 cents more? You know?
That I do not know. I'm sure that's somewhere in the logistics. I would hope,
Nobody has
but
known, but that better be the case. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say streamers are getting, instead of 250, we're going to be getting $3 now per sub. So let's just say it's that, because if not, oh, that's insane. But um, as long as streamers are also getting, $3 now instead of 50 cents, it's could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It may drive some less subs, but at least you'll get more per. Um, I don't know if that's Twitch's way to make more money. I don't think raising the price is ever a good idea. I think that is already going to drive away people that were barely scraping by to make the subscriptions in the first place. But I think in terms of like subs versus Turbo, I don't know, man. I only have negative things to say about that. I think Turbo is the dirtiest thing Twitch has ever offered against its own employees. Like, we're all technically employees as streamers. And they just said to the people, hey, you want to bypass the ads, but also not like pay the streamer or every streamer you go to, then just pay us $5 a month and we'll block all the ads for you. Like, are you kidding me? Like, the ads were the incentive for people to subscribe and support their streamers, and they just undercut every streamer on their platform by offering Turbo. I think they should stop offering Turbo entirely. It's crazy.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Just to clarify, they did raise turbo prices. So if you do go with turbo, it is $11.99 a month.
Really?
I'm not sponsoring Twitch or anything of that. I'm just
No, no, yeah.
clarifying some information. But yes,
Hmm.
it is $11.99 a month. But like you said, you do get no ads to whatever stream. It
I
looks
guess
like
it's more expensive than I thought, but it's still a crazy undercut. Like, how could you offer something that hurts your own employees that much? They
yeah,
shouldn't offer that at all. I mean,
used to be
I
cheap.
guess it's not that cheap, but
Like I said, it used to be cheap. I think at one point it was only $8. I think they
yeah,
raised
that's
it.
what I thought. I didn't know it was that much, which is like,
Yeah, they
like
kept
more
it.
than 2 subs, but
Yeah, they kept it hidden for a long while when it was cheaper, and then all of a sudden they raised the price, and now it's like it's advertised at the corner in Twitch now and all that stuff. Which I
yeah.
totally agree. It does take away from the streamers. Is there something though that Twitch can implement a tool? I know we talked about this earlier about having the tools, but is there something that you would like to see Twitch implement tool wise, if it be modding or if it be something bit wise, whatever the case may be, that you would like to see Twitch add or implement to streaming or
Hmm.
streams?
I'd like to see them implement for streams. I guess it shouldn't be so hard for like bits and stuff to control the stream more, which they might be doing with this channel points thing. But for example, like if you wanted to make something pop up on the screen because someone paid bits, you have to find just the right third party app to like activate that, or just the right plugin to activate that. And the plugins don't all work well. If you want to incentivize their own program, which is bits, then you need to like give it more control over the stream. I want to like activate something crazy. I don't know. And there are other ways to do that now with like sound alerts and all that, but I don't know. Everything's always been like third party activated that Twitch kind of should have offered more control over. But again, maybe we're seeing that. Maybe that offer's coming through. Um, I think the other thing, though, in a non-monetary sense, I'd really like to see from Twitch is just a better way of promoting their like small streamers. And um, I don't know. They put their most popular people on the homepage. I don't know. Give a bigger section to the small guys.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
ev- Everybody can find the big streamers, but on my homepage, it's always somebody who already has like 50K viewers. Like, the little people need more viewership too, and they have done a better job these days. There's like recommended and all that, but I don't know. It still comes down to that. Twitch promotes the bigger to get bigger, and it's always that. But I don't know. The more control with bits is going to be a nice thing to see, I guess.
So more of a hypothetical question. If you had the community and manpower, are you saying you would switch to Kick? Would you go to YouTube? Would you actually leave Twitch, or would you just stay on Twitch because there's really no there's options
Hmm.
but no options, if that makes sense.
Gosh, okay. If I had the viewership of my own and I could send them wherever I want, I'd probably send them to Kick just because I know Kick has the most profitable split for the creator. And it really comes down to that. Is like, I mean, the difference in that split is like massive. I mean, you'd be doubling, more than doubling your money. And imagine like having more than double the amount you already make on subs, especially if you're a big person. Who would turn that down, you know? This is for a lot of people their livelihood. Entertaining like this and planning to entertain like this is a full-time job. It's one that if I ever make it to that level, I'd be happy to call my full-time job, but, you know, um no one's going to turn down increasing your profits on that monumentally. It's like a huge deal. Um I think YouTube has not given enough love to their streaming. I think that it's still hard to find their streaming section. I think they don't promote it. I think it doesn't offer the same user friendly experience when it comes to gifting and the equivalent of bits and donations and all that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I probably would leave Twitch only because it purely comes down to the money. I don't think that they do right by their creators, and I think Twitch is making a lot of greedy changes right now with like raising subs and you know turbo all that.
Interesting. You touched on it a little bit, but another, I guess, hypothetical question: if you were able to, would you become a full time streamer?
Oh, absolutely. But that is easier said than done. And I think I have no one to blame but myself for not growing more than I have in the last 3 years. And I'll tell you exactly why that is. I didn't spend enough time giving focus to other platforms. Probably the number one thing I should have been doing was making 10 TikToks out of every stream and just having them on a schedule every week. I think that TikTok is probably your biggest growth platform, but there are others. Anyway, though, the point is like you got to be on other platforms. I should have been posting to YouTube, posting to TikTok, posting everywhere. Because if one thing goes viral on a platform, that could change everything. But if you're not putting anything out, it can't happen. And that's on me. I like to go and go live, you know? That's the fun part. I go live, I play games with my friends, with my community, I talk to people, I chat with people. That's the fun part. But you got to spend time in the not fun part. You got to edit the videos and put them on other platforms and cover all your bases and do everything you can to grow. Um, but hey, that's not to say I'm giving up. And should it be somewhere in the future, I would definitely love to be doing this full time.
That's a good transition because I actually do see that you have a YouTube here. I do know there's not many videos, and I guess you already touched on it a little bit. Were these just more like stream highlights, or do you actually make YouTube videos specifically for YouTube, or is this just
Uh,
more of a secondary kind of like?
Yeah, it depends. Some stuff is stream highlights, some stuff is not. My last video I did like specifically create for YouTube. And I enjoyed doing it, but it took a massive amount of time. And it is definitely hard to feel that payoff when it, you know, obviously just doesn't get that many views. And let's face it, that's like the I don't know what's the word, but that's the elephant in the room. That's the thing nobody wants to talk about. Okay, how you feel when you spend hours on something and it doesn't get views. It's like looked down upon to talk about that and say it makes you feel negative. But it does. It's tough for all of us to put that kind of effort into something and not see it returned. Um, but I think that's the thing. I think a lot of energy right now can be misguided. I think there is an order to these things, and the order to them is to start with short form content. I think spending less time on better short form content, the type of stuff that's going to go on like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, that kind of stuff, that is what's essential right now. That's what's going to make the biggest difference to your streaming or to your whatever you do. Um, so I'd say really pay attention to efficiency. If you don't want to waste your time, if you want to get discouraged because you're putting hours into something that's not paying off, put it into the places that are gonna count. What's popular right now? Short form content. What is blowing up? TikToks that get millions of views, and sometimes they are 15 seconds long. Like, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to take forever. It's just a matter of putting the right things out there and also learning what the right things are, you know? Research is just as much a part of it.
So is that one of your goals then? With your YouTube channel and your TikTok, are you going to be posting more short form content, and will that be streaming related, or is that just kind of anything and everything? You're just gonna keep
Um,
throwing it at the wall, kind
no,
of
yeah,
thing.
that is definitely the goal. That is definitely, I think, will make a big difference. I think a hard part of it's also thinking like, hey, what moments in stream are going to make good TikToks? But I think if anything is going to make things, grow, um, that's it. So for sure.
And of course, people are probably wanting to know: is there going to be a new hair color for the stripe? It's usually
Oh
red.
man,
I'm going through your videos. A lot of it's red. You did have blonde at one point. It looks like in this video.
that is funny. You noticed that. Yeah, I mean, look, the move to natural colored hair was not intentional. Um, I absolutely loved having dyed hair for many years, but I had a hairdresser that I'd been going to since I was probably 16. I went to her for like 10 years. And then she had a baby and she closed up shop. And I haven't really heard from her since, but she's got to live her life however she's going to live it. She was really good at doing hair color. Since then, I moved to someone who's very good at cutting hair, but not good at doing color. I don't really have somewhere to do color, but the whole reason I've changed my hairstyle from what it was before is to do some color in like one half of it. I don't know which half yet. Um, and it might be red. Red looked good. We'll see.
Going back to
The
red.
blonde was the most controversial.
Really?
I
So
liked blonde, but people did not like blonde. Some people really hated it, but I think everyone loved the red. So
interesting. Would you ever do like something that's not a natural color? Like, would you do like a blue or like a gray? Well, I guess gray is a natural color, but maybe like a blue or a green. I guess you don't want to be looking like a clown, but but
yeah. I would definitely consider blue, but I have like a warmer skin tone, so warmer colored hair like goes better with me. But I did purple, and here's the problem with like very unnatural colors, they don't stay. The purple, like dyeing your hair like that costs a lot of money, and the purple stayed for like 2 weeks before it got really faded. Within like 2 months, it was like pink, and it was like it is way too much money to spend and have it come out that fast. The red lasted for a very long time, so just in terms of like affordability, other colors aren't the best, but I would do like a blue or something. That's fun, and I would definitely like to experience that. As far as like gray goes, I think that's super cool. And I've wanted to, but I have like nearly black hair. And that's like a very rare thing. Apparently, most people have like dark brown hair, but
Mhm.
my hair is like truly almost black. And you can't take that to silver without just all your hair just being fried and like practically falling off. So
That makes
that's what it
sense.
is.
I figured I'd
Yeah,
throw that in because I noticed. I was like,
that's
oh,
funny.
the stripe is gone, or whatever. This pieces of
Yeah,
hair stripes.
that's funny. A lot of people actually ask about it. A lot of people still come in and are like, "What? No new hair color?" Like, trust me, I want it. I don't know who to go to now. I gotta find someone soon though.
There you go. In the future, guys, you'll either see red or maybe, if you're lucky, maybe blue. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the last question for Twitch related is: in 5 years' time, where do you see yourself? Are you still streaming? Did you give up? Did you say fuck this? Did you say I'm moving to YouTube? Do you see yourself on Kick?
Well, I couldn't say what platform's going to show itself to be the best. I don't think Twitch is forever, but I do think live streaming will stick around. Where that's going to go, I couldn't say. And I'd say, as far as am I still around, I think it's going to be a little bit between whether or not this is taking over my life or whether or not photography is. I still very much I work in photography still. It is where the bulk of my income comes from. I wish it was Twitch, but it's not. And of course, I need to put more effort into Twitch, and I will. Um, but hopefully, maybe some more money comes from this. I think it's going to show itself in time. Am I making more as a photographer or more as a streamer? And which direction I'm going to go with that? But I would certainly, ideally, like, what do I want in my heart? I want it to be Twitch. I want it to be content creation, and I want to be, you know, bigger, working with other people, collaborating with brands and creators and whatever. But then, to be fair, also to your question, I think long term future, I think for no one, streaming is forever. I don't think that anyone can be going live every day for the rest of their lives. I think YouTube is the big place that most people go. And once you get millions of viewers on YouTube, it's like more money than you can make even being live. And it's on your own time, you know? You get to film a video of you going out and doing something. You get to edit that and like, you know, that's always been the big difference too between Twitch and YouTube is like Twitch, you can only make a living when you're live. But YouTube, people make money all the time. Their videos are always generating income. And not to be like, don't get like I don't want to sound like crazy about the money here, but I'm just talking like strictly from like, you know, a lot of us do this to make a living, to be what we do all the time. And if you're going to do that, you have to think about the finances just a little. And in terms of that, yeah, I mean, YouTube makes money all the time and Twitch only makes money when you're live.
It's very true. But do you think, talking about, I guess, going back to YouTube then, wouldn't you spend the money you make, especially if we look at like Mr. Beast, right? Which is an
Yeah.
extreme example, but most YouTubers take what they make and don't make that big of a profit because they're putting it back into the next video,
Yeah.
especially like Mr. Beast.
Well, you know, I mean, me personally, I don't need to be rich. I just want to make enough doing this to call it a living. I want to be able to put my all into this. I want to be able to put all of my time and effort into making a better stream, into entertaining people better, into making content that I'm passionate about, that I love, and having that support my bills at the end of the month, you know? So I totally get that. And if I was making a ton of money, then I probably would put a lot of it back into making some incredible videos. That's just part of the cost of business as well, though, you know? I don't need to take a lot of it home, just enough to live off of. At least that's what I say now. Obviously, actually having that money changes people, but definitely how I feel about it now, and I'm pretty sure that's how I'd practice it too in real life.
Well, I would hope so. Money
Yeah.
does change people. Things change. Everything. Depending on what's going on in life, health and your fitness and your mental well-being and
Yeah.
all that too also plays a role. Talking about
True.
mental health, I think this is a good segue a little bit. Do you
Hmm.
think streamers need mental health days? What do you feel when it comes to mental health and streaming? Do you think it's healthy? You're sitting in front of the camera all the time, you're talking with people.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy, as I'm sure you know, being live. It's not just like you're sitting there playing a video game, you're entertaining, you're talking, you're interacting, you're playing with
Yeah.
people.
Well, you know, I can't say for everyone. I can only say from my own experience. Um, do streamers need mental health days? I know I do. Maybe that's just me, but I take them when I need them. And even there, I don't stream that much anymore. So I feel bad about that. I definitely if there were more streams in my schedule, it would leave more room for like the occasional mental health day. But streaming's a very tough thing. When you go out there, if you want to bring people entertainment and enjoyment and have them follow you, you got to bring your best self. You got to bring your most energetic self. You got to bring your most entertaining self and in a good mood. It's not how everyone sees it, but that's how I see it. Is it healthy? In itself, I think it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting out here and performing. I think that for me at least, the experience of like socializing with other people and playing games and whatever is a great thing. And instead of sitting here all lonely on a night doing nothing, it's something that makes me feel like I'm doing something. It's something that gets me social. It's something that I enjoy. Um, it can definitely be good for you. But where it gets bad for you, I think, is after the stream, at least for me. If the numbers weren't so good, if your subs are down that month, if you just put out a video and it didn't get viewed, whatever, all of that, it takes a toll. Because then you look at someone else who's doing better and you're like, what am I doing wrong? What makes me lesser? That can have a lot of toll on making you feel lesser, on your encouragement, your motivation. I mean, let's face it, that's also the reason that I have slacked on putting out TikToks. It's like I can spend hours editing a couple of them, put them out, and they don't get views. Well, of course I'm going to be discouraged. Who wouldn't be? That part of the mental aspect is difficult. But I think the most important thing to remember is just to like keep your head up and keep going. Just like no matter how you feel, keep going. And that is definitely one thing I try to do the most. You know, is like even some days I'm not in the best mood. I try to go live anyway. I think just getting out there and doing it is what will help you learn and grow. I mean, I think I'm definitely someone who gets like held up when I'm afraid of something. If I was always like worried about having the perfect stream, I think I never would have gone live to begin with. Like when I started going live, I was shy and quiet. I had no energy. I didn't know what I was doing in front of a camera. But because I just kept going live, that's like when I figured it out and like found my voice. And if I'd been too afraid, always thinking I had to figure it out before I went live, then I never would have done it. So there's something to be said about like, you know, Nike has the right slogan, like just do it. Just keep doing it. Just keep trying, even if it's not your best, you'll figure it out in time.
Now, just to clarify, when people need a mental break or mental health day and whatnot, you don't want to push yourself. That's pretty much what I'm
Yeah.
clarifying here. Is
Yeah.
you're like, just keep going,
Yeah.
push.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
person's like, I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always in
I
your
mean,
comfort zone.
what?
Always be in your comfort zone.
Yeah, of course. But I also think you know, I also think there's something to be said about pushing yourself in terms of not being in your comfort zone. Like for example, when I started streaming, that wasn't my comfort zone, and you know, pushing through that is definitely what helped me get better. And at the same time, I think you know, you also have to think about an outside perspective. Not that that helps lessen the stress anymore, but people look at the consistency. Like you said earlier, consistency is important. A couple days here and there, you know, you got to take care of yourself first and foremost, or you're not going to be your best self on stream. But you know, there are people whose inconsistencies are like, you know, taking 6 months off and then coming back. And all I can say is I definitely think that will hurt the stream. I don't, I can't say whether you should or you shouldn't, because if you need that time, you need it, and that can't be helped. Um, but I think consistency can definitely make or break a streamer as well. And that's why in my 3 years streaming, you know, except for a week off here for vacation or whatever, I haven't really taken a break. Some weeks there's only 2 streams, but for the most part, every week of the last 3 years, I have streamed in some capacity, you know?
And that's a good segue. When can people see your stream if they wanted to see your stream or watch your stream?
If they want to see the streams are usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the evenings, usually around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hoping to move that up a little bit, but I'm just a late night person. I love the late nights, always have. And one thing I miss from COVID is that everyone was on a schedule. But yeah, about 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Alrighty. So you have removed Mondays. I'm looking at your stream schedule on your
Yeah, I
Twitch.
know.
So
I haven't updated that. That is my bad. I
no,
totally forget that that's even up there.
you're good. They're just trying to clarify if you missed it or not. That's all.
Yeah.
But you made it through the hard part. The interview is pretty much over. We're moving into the
Cool.
segue now, into the rapid fire questions. These are not so fast rapid fire questions because I always go, oh,
All right.
really? But it's just a this or that, nothing crazy. And like I said, usually I ask questions anyway in between, which makes them not rapid fire. So, are
Yeah.
you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, starting off easy. Hamburger or hot dogs?
Ooh, hot dogs.
Cats or dogs?
Big dog person for sure. Cats are secretly evil, mark my words.
Do you have any pets?
Not personally, but my parents have a dog and, you know, I love her like my own, or maybe not. She's pretty annoying. But yeah, my parents have a dog, so it's kind of the family pet.
Oh, what type of dog would you get since you said you wanted a big dog?
I would probably get. Well, I want a big dog, no, but I think I would get like ideally I want like an Australian Shepherd. I also think Huskies are beautiful. I think Corgis are very mild mannered. I grew up with a Border Collie. Any of those are good. My parents have a Black Lab, and she is just the worst behaved dog I've ever seen. Maybe
Where's
it's because my parents spoiled her, but
Really, I'm surprised. Very
She's
surprised.
insane. So insane.
Ice cream or cake?
Gonna have to be cake because I am a lactose intolerant guy.
Oh, favorite type of cake?
Ooh, maybe red velvet or contradictory tres leches, which is a 3 milk cake. Yeah, I can't have that anymore, but it was my favorite growing up.
Coffee or tea?
Ooh, can I say neither? I don't really drink either. I'm a big water guy.
Oh, there you go. I need to drink more water myself. I'd be more thin, I guess. But anyway,
Well, I really wish I would like took some caffeine because loving late nights, I don't always sleep the most, but I'm not. I don't know. I haven't taken the coffee. I've stayed off my own caffeine addiction. Maybe someday though. Incoming. Big coffee drinker time.
no energy drinks, nothing with caffeine at all, or
Um, no, not really. There's one thing I could say certainly about my drink taste. I don't like carbonation, but that's not what stops me with coffee or tea. I've just never really. I don't know. I haven't messed with it enough, right? I got to make it taste good, I guess. That's what they say.
interesting. Well, then I'll
All right, what do
ask.
you like? What do you like?
Well, I'll ask this next question, this next rapid fire question,
Okay.
because you will probably not have an answer for it. Then Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, no, actually, I do. You'd be surprised. Pepsi. I've drank a little soda, and I think Pepsi's the better one. So, yeah.
I'm a big soda guy. I drink coffee here and there, but I'm more of a
Uh
soda
huh.
kind of guy. Probably
Oh,
not
then
good for
what's
you.
your answer? Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, God, probably Coke. Probably
Well, look, to be fair, I am not a super loyal fan, but
neither
just
am I
like,
really, but you know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I drink both, but it depends. Like if you wanted a more sweeter pop and more like
Yeah.
not as abrasive, or I guess abrasive is the word, you would want to go
Yeah.
with Pepsi.
Yeah. I mean, I also think as a brand though, Pepsi makes a lot more products. Like they put like so many products out there because don't they make like Mountain Dew and all that?
Oh well, if we're gonna go Mountain Dew, then yeah, we'll go with Mountain Dew.
Well,
But where were we? Pizza or Chinese food?
ooh, pizza. I've actually, okay, my most recent hobby is making pizzas. I've gotten super into that.
Really
So definitely that. But don't get me wrong, I am half Thai and half Italian, so the other half of me loves a meal with rice over anything in the world.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh, definitely pepperoni.
That's fair, fair. Pirates or ninjas?
Probably pirates, and that's totally because Pirates of the Caribbean made a better culture for pirates than any ninja movie I've ever seen.
That is fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, well, as we already said, night owl. I am not a morning person.
I don't know if you'll have an answer for this, but World of Warcraft or RuneScape?
Um, I guess I'm gonna say World of Warcraft just because RuneScape looks like it was built for, um, I don't know, a computer in the '70s. But
All the old school RuneScapers right now just internally raging. It's fine.
they're molding. They're gonna hate me, but I just think the game looks terrible. And I think a true RuneScape fan will agree it looks terrible, but
that
that they still love the game.
that is true. Very true. Anime or cartoons?
Oh, definitely anime. I am big into anime, but I try not to let too much weeb show through.
What is your top three animes?
Um, Top three. I might be forced to say Full Metal Alchemist because that's one of my few tattoos. Um, but let's see. There's that. So Full Metal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter, and there's like so many newer ones. It's like hard to pick. I'm gonna say like ReZero. If you watch that, it's a really cool story.
Interesting. I have no idea about any of those, but that's okay.
That's okay. Do you have favorites?
I'm more of a Ghibli kind of guy. Does that count as
Yeah,
anime?
that counts. That counts.
I would say Howl's Moving Castle would be one of my top. I know Spirited Away is really good, but and Princess Mononoke, but I would have to say Howl's Moving Castle just because they're just. I've watched that movie so many times, and there's just memories behind that, and you can't go wrong with
hmm
Turnip Head.
Classic for sure.
No internet or no cell phone?
Oh, which would I give up?
Yeah.
Oh, well, definitely no cell phone. Because like the internet, that's how I do all this. I couldn't do it without that. And cell phones, I think all they do is stress us out.
Interesting. Harry Potter or Lord of the Ring?
Harry Potter.
Ooh, interesting. What house? I gotta ask.
I guess I'd want to be Gryffindor, right? That's the hero house. But I have taken many of the tests, and they say that I would be what is it like? I think they said I'd be Hufflepuff, which is like totally sidekick house. Like, come on, man. I want to be the main character.
You can't always be the main character. Sometimes, hey, sometimes the sidekick is the favorite though.
Yeah, I guess so.
But Hufflepuff, not even like Ravenclaw. I mean, you could have been Ravenclaw and it would have been really bad.
Hey,
The-
I don't know. That's what they put me in. But yeah.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars. I like it pretty well, but I'm not the most knowledgeable Star Wars fan.
Pokemon or Digimon?
Pokemon, for sure.
Your top or your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite probably just give me a classic. Maybe because I'm an old guy, or maybe because I haven't played too much newer Pokemon, but definitely Charizard.
Fair enough. Fair enough. iPhone or Android?
iPhone, it's what I've always been on, and let me tell you, I was talking about this last night too. I don't think I can join Green Text gang. You know, all my friends are on Blue Text, iMessage, and it just is such a smoother experience.
They're taking it away though. I thought the iPhone was moving to the
That's
new
a
messaging thing.
That's what they said, and then everyone would be blue text. If they do that, there's a chance I'd move to Android. But you know what? We still have the option to airdrop when you like send pictures to friends and stuff, and that is also kind of huge. But
Or do you have
we'll see.
anything else in your ecosystem that's Apple related or no?
I do, because like I said, I have a MacBook, and with like photography and all of that, I do also have an iPad, and it's kind of nice that they're all synced up. But I'm not as tied to those systems as you'd think. I think there's a lot of very comparable like Windows programs to make consistency across all of your like devices and stuff. So
Makes
I don't know.
sense. All right. Well, you made it through the rapid fire questions that were not so rapid fire as you saw, which is
That's all
okay.
right.
Which is
My answers
okay.
weren't so rapid fire.
It's okay. No worries at all. But at this time, this is the best time. I give you the floor. You get to shout out anything you want. If you have sponsors, if you want to say thank you to anybody, if you want to shout out anybody specific, this is your time to do it now. The floor is yours.
Of course, of course. Look, if I had a sponsor, this is where they go. So if you want to sponsor me, but no, I mean, yeah, you guys have heard this whole time. I'm AndyRighteous. I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Would love the support on Twitch. I also have a YouTube, also YouTube/AndyRighteous. YouTube's probably a place I have some future in, so definitely look out there. I'm also on Instagram and all the other platforms. And if you like pizzas, you could check out my pizza Instagram at Pizza with Andy. But that's pretty much it.
Pizza with that was a surprising one. All those links will be down
Yeah.
below. I will have also the Pizza Andy one down below for you
Thank
if
you.
you're
Thanks, Tony.
interested. So all those will be down below. And of course, guys, if this gets 7 likes, Andy here will let you pick out his next Fortnite loadout, whatever that case
Ooh,
may
let's
be.
go.
So I know it's a big task. We were close to the last goal. We did not make the last goal, which is okay. So we got it this time. No worries.
Don't
I
worry
have
about it.
faith.
We'll get 7. I will put this in my Discord and tell them we need at least 7.
Oh
They'll
boy.
be in.
You'll be running around with gray guns then. Do you really want to be running around with a terrible loadout?
Dude, it's up to them. They can choose the skin too. I just know they're gonna pick that stupid bear one with the little bear inside of it. I don't know.
You never know. Well, now they're going to pick it because you said it, but
Oh no. No, they'll pick something else. Don't worry. They can get me worse. Maybe they'll send me a bad skin.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, though. Thank you so much, Andy. Without you, though, I cannot make these possible. So thank you for taking your time today and joining me on one of these lovely interviews. Hopefully, you guys learned something new. Once again, give this video a like, 7 likes, and you get that loadout. Thank you so much. You guys all have a good one. Bye, guys.
See ya.